Okay, so I wanted to talk to you all today about protein and supplements. What sparked this series is I had a friend tell me she was just wondering how basically different sources of protein with different amounts of calories in the product, um, kind of how that worked, and then also how that impacted satiety, and some that keep you full and some that don't keep you full. Because I think because some of the clear protein drinks that they have now, low calories, I think they're between 100 and 200 calories, but have a good amount of protein in it, 20 to 30 grams. And then but then she would feel, an hour or two later, she'd still be hungry, as opposed to something with the same protein content, but maybe more calories. And I think at the end of the day, we know, and she knows, it's calories. Calories provide energy. The more calories you have, obviously, that's going to help you be full for longer. So that's satiety. How long you're full. How long you have that full feeling until you're hungry again. Now, just because we know too, just because something has so many calories, that doesn't mean because it has 500 calories that's going to keep you full. Because let's think about this: junk food, potato chips, things that are high calorie, they don't keep you full very long. And that's why people talk a lot, nutritionists, fitness people, things like that, personal trainers, they talk about the quality of the foods that you're eating. And that's why it's so important. So it's not just if it has enough calories, we're good. And it's not just if it has enough protein, it's good. There's a whole big picture of the quality of foods that you're consuming and how long it keeps you full. Another conversation that goes with this is the volume of your food. Okay, so you have high volume foods and low volume foods. And low volume, again, it's going to be things that don't take up as much space in your stomach. High volume food is going to be something that takes up a lot of space, but it's low calorie. So one that's off the top of my head is watermelon. You can eat a lot of watermelon and not eat a lot of calories. I think, and this is off the top of my head, but it's like a whole, I think, big bowl, which that's not a serving size. That's not helpful. It's not a cup. But a whole big bowl, that's like 100 calories of watermelon, but you're eating a lot of watermelon to the point where you probably are like, okay, I'm bored of doing this. I don't want to eat any more watermelon. But that's why especially when you're on a calorie deficit, you want to reach for those low calorie foods. So anyways, all of that to say, this series really is going to talk about protein and supplements. And I'm probably going to add on, I feel like there's been a lot of chatter about peptides, a lot about GLP-1s. And I am not educated on that at all. It's something I'm going to have to research to bring back to you. But the root of this video series, and I've talked to y'all about this before, is there's no magic supplement. You're not going to take a supplement and it's just going to magically give you the body that you want without the foundations of health and fitness that I always talk to you guys about. You're managing your stress, managing your sleep, having a proper diet that meets your goals, walking throughout the day or moving throughout the day, doing your strength training, yada, yada, yada. If you're not hitting those, because those are the big blocks, if you're not hitting those, it's not like you're going to have a protein powder and then you don't hit any of your foundational blocks and then you find this magical pill or this magical powder and then it's like, done. And I will preface, because I feel like GLP-1s are like all the rage right now, it's not a magic pill at all. From the limited information that I've seen, yes, there are definitely good health outcomes, right? If you're obese, it's definitely going to help you manage your weight. I know anecdotally, I've heard people talk about how it really helps with food noise, and people that struggle with that, it's just not a thing anymore. And I can't relate to that. I'm like, do I have to eat again? And that's probably annoying to some people, to be quite honest, and I'm sorry, but that's just how I'm wired. I'd rather not eat in times of stress. I don't want to eat. And right now I'm trying to gain as much muscle as I can right now throughout the holidays and into the spring. And I have to push myself to eat more. And that's something that is, I'm not saying that's intuitive to anyone, but I don't know. Maybe some people might find that easier, or there's probably people rolling their eyes like, oh, woe is Kristen. Like, she has to eat again. So I'm not sitting here being like, guys, let me just tell you, I have to eat 4 meals today. Like, I'm not here doing that either. My point was, I don't struggle with food noise, but I know people do. And so GLP-1s can help with that. But from what I've seen, you definitely have to make sure that you're strength training, because what's going to happen on the GLP-1 is it doesn't, and honestly, this is the same with if you're going to do a calorie deficit too, and the mechanisms might be different. So again, I'm not trained in science, and someone can chime in, please, if they, have more information, or I misspeak, or say use a wrong word. But it's not going to be like, your GLP-1 is not going to be like, oh yeah, let me just take all the fat. I'll leave your muscle, I'll preserve your muscle, but let me, take your fat. Same with a calorie deficit. It's not going to be like, oh yeah, let me preserve her muscle, but I'll just go after her fat because I'm going to be a good little calorie deficit. It's like, it doesn't work that way. That's why, you hear me talk about making sure you're getting enough protein, and then you're doing that strength training, but not phoning it in. There's a level of intensity you need to be training with, using heavy enough weights, without an ego. So, again, GLP-1s can be great. And I think a huge benefit is getting excess weight off, because we know there's lots of negative health outcomes with having excess weight, period. That's like not a thing to debate. But you can't just take the GLP-1 and then expect that, again, it's going to be the answer to all your prayers. Because what's going to happen is, are you going to just take that for the rest of your life? And they don't really know the long-term health impacts with those drugs. And that's concerning enough. So anyways, and the peptide thing, I've seen this pop up a couple of times, and I don't know anything about it, but again, this is one of those things, like, if you're not hitting those main foundation blocks, these things aren't going to be the change that you want it to be. And preemptively, I'll say, as someone who's never taken any of these, so with the GLP-1, okay, with a healthy lifestyle, okay, I think we always want to look at how we look, the aesthetic, right? Everyone wants to look good. Everyone wants to look hot. Like, we want to be desired by our partners. Like this is human nature. This is biology. Like people are like, no, I don't care about looking good. I just really want to PR. Like, there's some level of us that you like to look good, okay? Like, can we just stop that? But I've told you guys this before. When you have a strength goal, when you are learning new skills, there is a mental component of a challenge that we are wired to do, to train, to overcome. It's the same with, honestly, taking care of your yard or cleaning your house. There's satisfaction in the work that you do, and then you have a finished product. There's something in how we're wired that, we need to work and have a desired product. And if it's not there, we continue to work until we get there. I don't want to get like theological here, but that's how God made us to work. And anyways, so I don't even know what my point was with that. I don't know. I don't have to rewind because I don't know. But anyways, peptides, GLP-1s, there's something I need to research more about. And that's not going to, that might be a later video, to be honest, but I didn't do that now. So, okay. Oh, I should have started with this too, but you know what? We're here, so it's fine. And I did mention this a little bit, but I provide all this information with absolute humbleness. Like, I'm learning, I'm always learning. And again, I'm not trained in any science background besides my psychology degree, but it wasn't even a Bachelor of Science, it was a Bachelor of Arts, which, maybe splitting hairs a little bit, maybe not. All that to say, a lot of the stuff, I don't know, and I can point you to people I follow who are much more educated and understands a lot of the scientific process. I think can be helpful for some, but honestly, I think at the end of the day, not all of us are meant to have those backgrounds. And I think we all, in a way that's common sense, can know what we need to do to be healthy. I mean, we all know it. I don't have to sit here and tell you what to do. And I don't think you need to know all of the biological mechanisms or processes or whatever going in your body to understand what you need to do to be healthy with any of this stuff. But I say all of that with absolute humbleness, because I don't know everything. I won't ever know everything. But I love learning about this stuff. And so my goal is to share it just so it can hopefully help you. Or maybe spark something like, I never thought about that. Or maybe that's something I need to think about or figure out. Or, there's times when people have been talking about one thing, that I've been listening to, and then I'm like, oh, I never thought about that. But that makes a lot of sense, or that's really helpful, or whatever. So anyways, that's why I feel like I've always been a little bit more hesitant, but I don't know. Now I'm like, look, no one knows everything. And I have to be open to criticism, and I have to be open to people no, I don't think that's it. And then I'll be like, oh, okay, my bad. Let me correct. And the thing is, even the smartest people right now are getting something wrong. And I'm not saying that to take them down. I'm just saying these things evolve. More research happens, more things occur, things change, and that's just how life is. So basically, there's never going to be enough research, and we're never going to be able to explain all the things. And again, this is not to negate current research that's out there that helps guide us. But I can't let it be a stumbling block to not learn and to not try to do what I feel like is part of what makes me tick, is learning about fitness and nutrition. because I love it. So, and I pretty much talked about the foundation blocks before we get into supplements and things like that. And okay, so in this video series, we'll be talking about why you should take some of the supplements, and I'll go over the supplements I currently take just so, and I'll, I'm happy to explain why I take them. And I'll link below all the products that I take, and I'm going to sell them all to you. No, I'm kidding. I don't know. Was that annoying? That might have been annoying. Okay. But yes, I'll share with you what I take. And then if you want to know specific brands, like, just message me, I guess. Okay. And then what do you need? Like, what proteins and supplements do you need? I feel like I kind of answered that, but I'll go a little bit deeper in that. In that video, the third question, what's the difference between clear protein and whey protein? And which one should you use? Another question, are vitamins important anymore? And then I'm going to do this in the same video. Should I worry about fiber and micronutrients? And I'll go over what micronutrients are in that video. So what is that? 4 or 5 videos. And then I will add at the end, I think, like, what's the deal with peptides, or what are those? Maybe talk a little bit more about GLP-1s, benefits and pros. But honestly, and I'm going to say in that video too, any prescriptions, like, you need to talk to your doctor. He's going to have, much better guidance than I will. I just come from it from the, obviously, the personal training perspective. And you can ask your doctor, like, if this is helping me manage my weight, is it going to impact muscle? Like, how does that all work? And I'm sure he's happy to explain that, or she's happy to explain that to you about that. But I'm pretty sure it doesn't discriminate. So make sure your strength training.